My name is Diane Mitchell, and I'm about to tell you about the worst day of my entire life. The day I buried my mama. Now, burying your mama is already the hardest thing you'll ever do. The woman who gave you life, who raised you, who loved you unconditionally. Saying goodbye to her, watching them lower her casket into the ground, that's pain that goes deep, soul deep. But you know what makes it worse? Finding out your husband is cheating on you. At the funeral. In the church. With his mistress sitting 3 rows behind you. Girl. Let me tell you how this happened. Because you ain't gonna believe this. My mama, Gloria Jean Mitchell, passed away on March 3rd. She was 72 years old. Had been battling cancer for 3 years. 3 long, hard years. Of chemo. Of radiation. Of hospital stays. Of hope and disappointment. Of watching her get weaker, smaller, thinner. Until finally, she was just gone. I was with her when she passed, holding her hand, in that hospital room. At 4:47 in the morning, my husband David was at home with our 2 boys. Said he needed to get some sleep, had to work in the morning. "I'll come by after my shift," he'd said, kissing my forehead. "Call me if anything changes." But by the time he would have gotten there, she was already gone, so I sat there, alone, holding my mama's hand as it got cold, crying, praying, saying goodbye. The nurse was kind, gave me time, didn't rush me. Eventually I had to let go, had to make the calls, had to start planning, the funeral. Now I'ma be real with you. The week between my mama dying and her funeral? That's all a blur. I was on autopilot, going through the motions, picking out the casket, choosing the flowers, writing the obituary, calling family members, coordinating with the church, meeting with the pastor, picking out her dress. The dress she'd be buried in. David was there, physically, but not really there. You know what I mean? He'd show up to the meetings, nod in the right places, say, "Whatever you want, baby." But he was distant, on his phone a lot. "Work stuff," he'd say. "Boss is riding me hard right now." I didn't think much of it, because I was grieving. My mama was gone, and I needed my husband to be present. But he wasn't. The funeral was set for March 10th, a Saturday, at New Hope Baptist Church. The church my mama had attended for 40 years. The church where she sang in the choir, where she served on the usher board, where she taught Sunday school. That church was her life. So, of course, that's where we'd say goodbye. The morning of the funeral, I woke up at 5 a.m., couldn't sleep anyway. Got up, made coffee, stood in my kitchen, staring out the window at the dark morning, knowing that today, I had to bury my mama. David came downstairs around 6:30, already dressed in his suit, black suit, white shirt, black tie. He looked good. My husband was a good-looking man. Tall, dark-skinned, well-built, worked in construction management, made decent money. We'd been married for 15 years, together for 17, had 2 boys, Malik, 13, Jordan, 10, good kids, smart, respectful. They loved their grandma. This was gonna be hard on them, too. "You okay, baby?" David asked, pouring himself coffee. "No," I said honestly, "but I gotta be." He came over, hugged me. And for a moment, just a moment, I felt safe, felt supported. "I got you," he whispered. "We're gonna get through this together." I believed him. God, I believed him. We got the boys up, got them dressed in their suits. Malik was quiet, trying to be strong, but I could see his eyes were red. He'd been crying. Jordan was clingy, kept hugging me. "I miss Grandma," he kept saying. "I know, baby. Me too." We got to the church at 9 a.m. Funeral was at 11, but family was supposed to be there early, for a private viewing, before everyone else arrived. The church was already decorated. White roses everywhere. Mama's favorite. Her casket was at the front, closed. I'd chosen a closed casket because the cancer had changed her so much, and I wanted people to remember her as she was, not as she'd become at the end. My sisters were already there, Renee and Latonia, both of them crying. We hugged, held each other, cried together. My daddy had passed when I was 23, so it was just us 3 girls now. We were all we had left. Family started arriving. Aunts, uncles, cousins. All of us in black. All of us grieving. At 10:30, they opened the doors, let the other guests in. The church started filling up. Mama was loved. Everybody knew Miss Gloria. The church was packed. David was sitting next to me in the front row. The boys on his other side. My sisters next to me. I was trying to hold it together, trying to be strong. But, girl, I was breaking. The organist started playing, soft, mournful music. People were still filing in, finding seats. I was staring at that casket, at those white roses, thinking about my mama, about all the memories, about how much I was going to miss her. And then, something made me turn around. I don't know what. Some instinct, some feeling. I turned around, looked back at the church, at all the people, and that's when I saw her. A woman, standing in the back, just arriving. Young, maybe 30, 31, light-skinned, red hair, pressed and curled, wearing a black dress, too tight, too short for a funeral, and heels, stilettos, to a funeral. But that's not what made me stare. What made me stare? What made my blood run cold? Was the way she was looking at my husband. I watched her walk down the side aisle. Eyes on David. Not on the casket, not on the family, on my husband. And then I saw him. David. He'd turned around too, saw her. And his face. Oh, his face. Went from calm, to shocked, to panicked. In about 2 seconds. He looked at her, shook his head slightly. Like, what are you doing here? She smiled, a small, sad smile, and sat down, 3 rows behind us, on the aisle, where she could see him. My stomach dropped. Who is that? I whispered to David. Who? He said, not looking at me. That woman. The one in the red hair. Who just walked in. I don't know what you're talking about. He was lying. I could feel it. But the service was starting. Pastor Williams walked to the pulpit. We are gathered here today. I couldn't focus. Couldn't hear him. All I could think about was that woman, and the way David looked at her, and the way she looked at him. We stood for the first hymn. Amazing Grace. Mama's favorite. Everyone singing. Some people crying. I was singing. On autopilot. But I was watching David. And every few minutes, he'd glance back, at her, 3 times during that hymn. 3 times. He looked back at her, and she was looking at him. My heart was pounding. No, not here, not now. Not at my mama's funeral. Pastor Williams started the eulogy, talking about Mama's life, her faith, her service to the church, her love for her family. I should have been listening, should have been remembering, should have been grieving. But all I could think about was that woman behind me, halfway through the eulogy. David's phone buzzed. He pulled it out slightly, looked at it under the program. His face changed. Then he typed something back. Quickly. At my mama's funeral. He was texting. David, I hissed. Put the phone away. Sorry, he whispered. Emergency at work. Work. At 11:30 on a Saturday morning, during a funeral. I didn't believe him, but I couldn't make a scene. Not here, not now. So I turned back around, tried to focus on Pastor Williams, but my mind was racing after the eulogy. They opened the casket for one final viewing, just for family. We stood, walked up to the front, and there was my mama, looking peaceful, beautiful, wearing her favorite purple dress, the one with the lace collar, her hands folded over her chest, holding her Bible. I lost it, started sobbing, uncontrollably. Renee held me on one side, Latonia on the other. David was behind me, hand on my back. But it felt wrong. His touch felt wrong because I knew something was going on. After the viewing, they closed the casket for the last time. Then came the processional to the cemetery. We got in the family car, the long black limousine. Me, David, the boys, and my sisters. As we pulled away from the church, I looked back, and I saw her, that red-haired woman, getting into a car, a silver Honda, following the processional to the cemetery. "David," I said, my voice shaking. "Who is that woman?" He looked at me. "What woman?" "Don't play with me right now." "The woman with the red hair. The one who keeps looking at you. The one you keep looking back at." "Diane, I don't know what you're talking about." "You're lying." The boys looked at us, scared. My sisters looked uncomfortable. "Not now," Renee said quietly. "Please, not now." She was right. This wasn't the time. This wasn't the place. But God, I was so angry, so hurt, so confused. We got to the cemetery. They'd set up a tent, green tent, chairs underneath for family, Mama's casket on the stand, over the grave. Everyone gathered around. Pastor Williams said a few more words, a prayer. Then they started lowering the casket. That's when I really broke down, because this was it. This was goodbye. My mama, going into the ground, never to hold her again, never to hear her voice, never to get her advice. Gone. David had his arm around me, but I pulled away, because I looked up, through my tears, and I saw her, standing about 20 feet away, by a tree, watching, at my mama's burial. This woman was at my mama's burial. "I'll be right back," I said. "Diane?" David grabbed my arm. I yanked it away, and I walked over to her. People were still praying, still watching the casket being lowered. But I didn't care. I walked right up to that woman. She saw me coming. Her eyes went wide. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice low but hard. I'm sorry for your loss," she said. "I didn't ask for your condolences. I asked who you are, and what you're doing at my mother's funeral." She looked past me, at David. "Did he invite you here?" I asked. She didn't answer. "Answer me." My name is Simone," she said quietly, "and I'm friends with David." Friends. Friends don't come to each other's mother-in-law's funerals," I said, "unless they're more than friends." Her face said it all. She didn't have to say it. I knew. "How long?" I asked. "I think you should talk to David." "I'm talking to you." "How long?" 8 months, she whispered. 8 months. My mama had been in hospice for the last 8 months of her life. The worst 8 months. When she was dying, when I was at the hospital every day, when I was begging David to be there more, to support me, to help with the boys. And he was with her. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "You need to leave," I said, my voice shaking. "Now. I just wanted to pay my respects." "Pay your respects?" People were starting to look now. "You're sleeping with my husband, and you came to my mother's funeral? What kind of person are you?" "I'm sorry." She started crying. "I don't want your apologies. I want you gone. Get out of here. Now." She ran, literally ran back to her car. I stood there, shaking, crying, breaking, and then I felt a hand on my shoulder. My sister Renee. "Come on, Dee," she said softly. "Let's go sit down." "Did you know?" I asked her, turning around. "Did you know about her?" "No, baby, I swear I didn't know." We walked back to the gravesite. Everyone was staring at me, whispering. David wouldn't look at me. Just stood there. Head down, guilty. The service ended. People came up to offer condolences, hugging me. "Your mama was a wonderful woman. She's in a better place now." Call me if you need anything. I smiled, nodded, said, thank you. On autopilot, because, inside, I was screaming. On the worst day of my life, when I needed my husband most, I found out he'd been cheating on me for 8 months with a woman who had the audacity, the nerve, to show up at my mother's funeral and sit in that church, 3 rows behind me, while I buried my mama. Girl, I don't even have words for what I felt. Rage, grief, betrayal, devastation, all of it mixed together into something I can't even describe. We got back in the family car. This time I sat as far from David as I could. The boys were confused. Mama, what's wrong? Malik asked. Not now, baby. David tried to reach for my hand. I pulled away. Diane, don't. Don't you dare touch me. We drove back to the church for the repast, the after-funeral meal. The church ladies had prepared food, fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, sweet tea, cake. Everyone was eating, talking, sharing memories of Mama. I couldn't eat, couldn't think. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, locked the door, and screamed into my hands. Screamed until my throat hurt, until I couldn't scream anymore. Then I slid down the wall, sat on that bathroom floor, and cried. For my mama, for my marriage, for everything. There was a knock on the door. Diane? Renee's voice. You okay in there? I wasn't. But I got up, washed my face, tried to pull myself together, and went back out there, to smile, to hug people, to pretend. Like my whole world hadn't just fallen apart. At my mama's funeral, the repast lasted about 3 hours. 3 hours of me pretending, smiling, thanking people for coming, accepting casseroles and condolences, while my husband stood across the room, avoiding me. Every time I looked at him, he looked away. Guilty. Finally, people started leaving. My sisters helped clean up. The boys were playing with their cousins in the church basement. David was outside. Taking a phone call, someone said. Yeah, I bet he was. When we finally got in the car to go home, the silence was thick. The boys fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from the day, from the grief. David drove. I stared out the window, not talking, not looking at him. We got home, carried the boys inside, put them to bed, still in their suits, too tired to change them. Then David and I were alone, in our bedroom. He started loosening his tie, taking off his jacket, like it was a normal day. Diane, he started. 8 months, I said. My voice was cold, ice cold. What? That's what she said. 8 months. You've been with her for 8 months. He froze. Who told you that? She did. When I went over there and asked her who the hell she was. At my mother's cemetery. Diane, I can explain. Explain? I turned to face him. Explain what, David? Explain how you've been cheating on me? For 8 months? While my mama was dying? It's not what you think? It's not. Then what is it? 'Cause from where I'm standing? It looks like you got a whole side piece. Who felt comfortable enough to come to your wife's mother's funeral? He sat down on the bed, head in his hands. How could you? I asked, my voice breaking now. How could you do this to me? While I was losing my mama? I'm sorry, he said. Sorry? You're sorry? That's all you got? I don't know what else to say. How about the truth? How did you even meet her? Who is she? He was quiet for a long time. She works at the bank, he finally said. The one on Henderson Street, where I deposit the work checks. The bank. We started talking. She was friendly. And you what? I was lonely, Diane. I laughed. A horrible, bitter laugh. You were lonely? I was at the hospital every day watching my mama die. I was begging you to be there more, to help with the boys, to support me. And you were lonely? You were always at the hospital. Because my mother was dying. What did you want me to do? Leave her alone to die by herself? I'm not saying that. Then what are you saying? I'm saying you weren't there. He stood up now, voice rising. For me. You were there for your mama. You were there for your sisters. But you weren't there for me. I stared at him, shocked. Are you seriously blaming me right now? For your cheating? I'm not blaming you. Yes, you are. You just said I wasn't there for you. While my mama was in hospice. While she was on her deathbed. I needed you too, Diane. Well, I needed you. I needed my husband. But instead you were at the bank, flirting with some woman named Simone. It wasn't like that at first. Oh, so it just happened? You just fell into a relationship? For 8 months? He didn't answer. How many times? I asked. What? How many times did you sleep with her? Diane. How many times, David? I don't know. You don't know. Was it that many times that you lost count? Please, just calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. Don't you dare. I grabbed the closest thing, a picture frame from the dresser, our wedding picture, and I threw it, right at him. He ducked. It hit the wall behind him, shattered, glass everywhere. You brought her to my mama's funeral. I was screaming now, past caring if the boys woke up. I didn't invite her. She just showed up. Oh, so she just knew? She just knew when and where the funeral was? You must have told her. I mentioned it, but I told her not to come. But she came anyway. Because she thought she had the right. Because you made her feel like she was part of our lives. That's not true. Then why did she come, David? Why? He didn't answer. Because he knew. She came because she thought she was more. More than a side piece. More than a secret. She came because she thought she mattered to him. And apparently, she did. Does she know about me? I asked. About the boys? Yes. So she knew you were married. Knew you had children. And she still... Yes. And you still... Yes, Diane, yes. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. A mistake is being late for dinner. This is not a mistake. This is a choice. You chose this. Every single time for 8 months. I had to sit down. My legs couldn't hold me anymore. I sat on the edge of the bed we shared. And I thought about it. 8 months. How many times had he come home? From her. And gotten into bed with me? How many times had he kissed me? After kissing her, how many times had he said, I love you? While loving someone else. I felt sick. I'm gonna be sick, I said. Ran to the bathroom. Threw up. Everything from the repast came up. Everything in my stomach came up. Until there was nothing left. David came to the door. Get away from me, I said. Diane, get away from me. He backed away. I washed my face, rinsed my mouth, looked at myself in the mirror. Red eyes, swollen face, makeup smeared. I looked wrecked. I felt wrecked. I walked out of the bathroom. David was sitting on the bed. You need to leave, I said. This is my house too. I don't care. You need to go. Now. Where am I supposed to go? Go to Simone's house. Since you've been spending so much time there anyway? Diane, please, leave! Get your stuff and leave. I'm not leaving my sons. They're sleeping. You can see them tomorrow. But tonight, you need to get out. He looked at me, really looked at me. And he saw that I was done. He grabbed some clothes, his phone charger, his keys, and he left. I heard the front door close, heard his car start, heard him drive away. And then I was alone. In my house. The house we'd bought together. The house where we'd raised our boys. The house where I thought we were happy. I walked back to our bedroom, looked at the shattered picture frame, glass all over the floor, our wedding picture. Both of us, so young, so in love, so naive, thinking we'd be together forever. I picked up a piece of the glass, looked at our faces. Who were these people? Because I didn't recognize them anymore. I sat on the floor, surrounded by broken glass, broken dreams, broken everything. And I cried. Not the pretty crying from movies, the ugly crying, the kind where you can't catch your breath, where your whole body shakes, where sounds come out that don't even sound human. I cried for my mama, who I'd buried just hours ago. I cried for my marriage, which was apparently over. I cried for my boys, who were going to have to go through this. I cried for me, for the woman I was this morning, who still believed in her husband, who still trusted him, who still loved him. That woman was gone, dead, just like my mama. I don't know how long I sat there. Could have been minutes, could have been hours. Eventually, I heard a noise. Footsteps. Malik, standing in the doorway, in his pajamas, rubbing his eyes. "Mama?" he said. "Why are you on the floor? Where's Dad?" I tried to pull myself together, tried to smile, but I couldn't. "Come here, baby," I said, patting the floor next to me, being careful of the glass. He came over, sat down. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Is it Grandma?" "Yeah, baby," I said. "It's Grandma. Mama's just really sad." It wasn't a lie. Not completely. He hugged me, my 13-year-old baby, trying to comfort me. "It's gonna be okay, Mama," he said. "Grandma's in heaven now. She's not hurting anymore." And that just made me cry harder. Because he was right. Mama wasn't hurting anymore, but I was. I was hurting so much. The next morning, I woke up on the couch. Must have fallen asleep there, still in my funeral dress. Everything from yesterday came rushing back. Mama's funeral, Simone, David, the fight. For a second, I hoped it was a dream, a nightmare, but it wasn't. My phone had 17 missed calls, 10 from David, 5 from Renee, 2 from Latonia, and 1 text from a number I didn't recognize. "I'm so sorry about yesterday. I never meant to cause you pain. Simone." I deleted it, then I blocked the number. The boys came downstairs. "Morning, Mama," Jordan said. "Where's Dad?" "He had to go, handle some things," I said. "He'll be back later." Another lie. I was getting good at those. I made them breakfast, pancakes, on autopilot. They ate, watched TV, normal, acting like everything was normal. While inside, I was dying. Around noon, Renee called. "Girl, are you okay?" she asked. "I've been calling you." I don't know," I said honestly. "What happened yesterday? Who was that woman?" So I told her. Everything. "What?" Renee was yelling. "David's been cheating? For 8 months? While Mama was dying?" "Yeah. I'm coming over." "You don't have to." "I'm coming over." She hung up. 20 minutes later, she was at my door, with Latonya, and my cousin Jasmine. All 3 of them. They came in, took one look at me. "Oh, Dee," Renee said, and I broke down again. They held me, let me cry. Then they went into action. "Okay," Jasmine said. She was a paralegal, knew about legal stuff. "First thing you need to do is document everything. Every text, every call, everything you know about this Simone person. We need to get you a lawyer," Renee said, "like yesterday." "Wait," I said. I don't know if I want a divorce." They all looked at me. "Dee," Latonya said gently. "He cheated on you. For 8 months. While Mama was dying. And his side chick came to the funeral." "I know," I said. "I know. But we have kids. And I don't know what to do." "You don't have to decide right now," Renee said. "But you need to protect yourself. Get a lawyer. Find out your options." Then decide. She was right. Where is he now? Jasmine asked. I kicked him out last night. I don't know where he went. Probably to her house, Latonia muttered. That thought made me want to throw up again. The boys don't know, I said. And I don't want them to. Not yet. That's fair, Renee said. But eventually, you're going to have to tell them something. I knew. But not today. Today, I just needed to breathe. My sisters stayed all day, helped with the boys, made dinner, cleaned up, gave me space to just exist. That night, after they left, after the boys went to bed, I sat in my bedroom, looking at that broken picture frame, still on the floor. I should clean it up. But I couldn't, because looking at that broken glass felt right. It matched how I felt inside, broken, shattered, destroyed. David called. I didn't answer. He texted, "Can we please talk?" I didn't respond. He called again. Finally, I answered. "What?" I said flatly. "Diane, please, we need to talk." "About what?" "About how you've been lying to me for 8 months? About how you brought your mistress to my mother's funeral? What exactly do you want to talk about? I want to fix this." "You can't fix this, David. Let me try. Please. I love you. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. I made a mistake. Stop calling it a mistake. It was a choice. Multiple choices. Every day for 8 months. I'll end it with her. I'll never see her again. I'll do whatever it takes. It's too late. Don't say that. You made your choice, David. When you started seeing her. When you kept seeing her. When you told her about my mother's funeral. You chose her. Over and over again. I chose wrong. Yeah, you did. So what now? He asked. You're just gonna give up? Throw away 15 years? I'm not throwing it away. You did. The moment you touched her. Silence. Where are you staying? I asked. At Marcus's place. Marcus was his best friend. He's letting me crash on his couch. Good. Stay there. Don't come back here. Not yet. Can I at least see the boys? Yeah. You can take them on Saturday. For the day. But you need to call first. Okay. And David? Yeah? Don't bring them around her. Ever. You understand me? I won't. I promise. Your promises don't mean shit to me anymore. I hung up, and I felt empty. Not sad, not angry, just empty. Like someone had scooped out my insides and left me hollow. The next few weeks were a blur, going through the motions, getting the boys to school, going to work, coming home, making dinner, bedtime, repeat. David came to see the boys on Saturdays, picked them up, brought them back. They asked questions. When's Dad coming home? Are you and Dad fighting? Are you gonna get divorced? I didn't know how to answer. Because I didn't know. Part of me wanted to fight for my marriage, for my family. But another part. A bigger part. Couldn't forgive him. Couldn't forget. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, in that church, at that cemetery, on the worst day of my life, and I couldn't get past it. 2 months after the funeral, I finally went to see a therapist, Dr. Sharon Brooks, Black woman, mid-50s, warm smile. Tell me what brings you in today, she said. And I told her. Everything. About Mama dying, about the funeral, about Simone, about David, about feeling broken. You've experienced multiple traumas, she said. Grief from losing your mother, and betrayal trauma from your husband's infidelity. And they happened at the same time, which makes it even harder to process. I don't know how to feel, I said. Some days I'm sad about Mama. Some days I'm angry at David. Some days I'm just numb. That's normal, she said. You're grieving 2 losses. Your mother. And your marriage as you knew it. So what do I do? I asked. How do I get through this? One day at a time, she said. One feeling at a time. You let yourself grieve. You let yourself be angry. You let yourself feel, without judgment. And eventually, the fog will lift, and you'll be able to see clearly what you want, what you need, what you deserve. I started going to therapy every week, and slowly, I started to feel better. Not good, but better. I could breathe again, could think again, could see a path forward, even if I didn't know where it led yet. 3 months after the funeral, I made a decision. I called David. "We need to talk," I said, "in person." "Okay," he said. "When?" "Saturday. After you drop the boys off. I'll be there." That Saturday. After David brought the boys home. After they ran inside to play. I asked him to stay. We sat in the living room. The same living room where we used to watch movies. Where we used to laugh. Where we used to be happy. "I've made a decision," I said. He looked at me, hopeful. "I want a divorce." His face fell. "Diane, please. I've thought about it. A lot. And I can't get past this. We can go to counseling." "No. I'm done, David." "Because of one mistake?" "It wasn't one mistake. It was 8 months of mistakes. It was every time you chose her over me. It was bringing that woman into my grief. But most of all, it's because you showed me who you really are. And I don't want to be married to that person." He was crying now. "I love you, Diane. I loved you too, David. But that's not enough anymore. What about the boys? The boys will be fine. We'll co-parent. You'll still see them. But you and me? We're done." He sat there, broken, and part of me felt bad. But a bigger part felt free, because I'd made a choice. I was choosing me. I was choosing my peace. I was choosing to not accept this. And that felt right. Filing for divorce is easy. You go to the courthouse, fill out some papers, pay some fees, done. Living through a divorce? That's the hard part, especially when you got kids, and a house, and 15 years of shared life. I hired a lawyer, Ms. Patricia Green, black woman, early 50s, sharp as a tack. "Tell me everything," she said in our first meeting. So I did. The affair, the funeral, all of it. She listened, took notes, didn't judge. "Okay," she said when I finished. "Here's what we're looking at. Georgia is a no-fault divorce state, which means we don't have to prove the adultery, but it can affect things like alimony. And it gives us leverage. You've been married 15 years. You have 2 minor children. You'll get primary custody most likely. He'll get visitation. Child support. As for the house, who's on the mortgage?" "Both of us," I said. "Who's been making the payments?" "Both of us. From our joint account." "Okay. So that's marital property. We can negotiate. Either you buy him out, or he buys you out, or you sell and split the proceeds." "I want to keep the house," I said, "for the boys, so they don't have to move. They've been through enough." "That's understandable. We'll make that our goal." Over the next few months, everything got complicated. David hired his own lawyer, suddenly wasn't so sorry anymore. Suddenly wanted 50% of everything. The house, the savings, the cars, even wanted to fight for joint custody. 50-50. "Are you serious?" I said when his lawyer sent the proposal. I called him directly, against my lawyer's advice, but I didn't care. "You want the boys 50% of the time? You barely spent time with them when we were together." "That's not fair, Diane. What's not fair is you trying to use our children as pawns. You don't want 50-50 custody because you want them. You want it to reduce your child support." "That's not true." "Yes, it is. You know it. I know it. Your lawyer knows it. I have a right to see my sons. And you will see them. Every other weekend. Wednesday dinners. Holidays. But you are not getting 50-50. Because you're not present enough for that. I hung up, shaking with rage. Ms. Green called me 20 minutes later. Diane, I understand you're upset, but you cannot call him directly. Everything goes through me. That's why you have a lawyer. I'm sorry, I said. I can't believe he's doing this. He's doing what most men do in divorce, fighting for things they don't really want, to have leverage, to negotiate down. So he doesn't really want 50-50 custody? Probably not. But he'll fight for it. So when we settle, he can compromise for less. And look reasonable. That's disgusting. That's divorce. The process took 8 months. 8 months of lawyers, of paperwork, of negotiations, of fighting. 8 months of the boys asking questions. When's Dad coming home? Are you really getting divorced? Is it my fault? That last one broke me. Baby, no, I told Jordan, pulling him into my lap, even though he was 10 and getting too big for lap sitting. This has nothing to do with you. Or your brother. This is between me and your daddy. Grown-up stuff. But we both love you. So much. That will never change. Then why can't you just stay married? He asked. How do you explain to a 10-year-old that his father betrayed you, that he brought another woman into your grief, that some things can't be forgiven? You can't. So I just said, sometimes people grow apart, baby. And that's what happened. But you and Malik, you'll always have both of us, just in different houses. He cried. I cried. And I hated David for putting us through this. Money was tight, really tight, because I was paying the full mortgage by myself now, plus all the bills, plus feeding 2 growing boys, plus lawyer fees. I picked up extra shifts at work. I was an administrative assistant at a law firm, decent pay, but not great. I started doing overtime, working weekends when I could. My sisters helped, watching the boys when I had to work late, bringing groceries, slipping me $20 here and there. I can't take this, I'd say. Yes, you can, Renee would say, shoving the money in my purse. That's what family does. I was exhausted, all the time, working, parenting, fighting a divorce, grieving my mama still. Some days I didn't know if I was coming or going, but I kept moving, because what choice did I have? I had 2 boys depending on me. I had to be strong, even when I felt weak. 6 months into the divorce process, I found out something that made me sick. David was still seeing Simone. I found out because Malik told me. We were at dinner one night, just the 3 of us. Dad has a new friend, Malik said, pushing his mashed potatoes around his plate. My stomach dropped. What kind of friend? I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. A lady. Her name is Simone. She makes him breakfast sometimes. I put my fork down, carefully, because I wanted to throw it. Does she stay at Dad's apartment? Sometimes, Malik said. She was there last Saturday, when we stayed over. Oh, hell no. I waited until the boys went to bed. Then I called David. He answered on the 3rd ring. Hello? You're still with her? No hello, no small talk. Diane, you're still with Simone? After everything? Silence. I have a right to see who I want. Not around my children, you don't. She's a nice person. She came to my mother's funeral. She helped you cheat on me. She is not a nice person. And she is not meeting my boys. It's too late. They've already met her. I felt like I'd been punched. You introduced them to your mistress? She's not my mistress anymore. We're in a relationship. A relationship. We're not even divorced yet. We're separated because of her, because you cheated with her. And now you're bringing her around my sons? They need to know I'm moving on. Moving on? David, our divorce isn't even final. And you're already playing house with this woman? What do you want me to do, Diane? Sit around and be miserable? Wait for you to forgive me? That's never gonna happen. You're right. It's not. But you could have the decency to wait until the ink is dry on our divorce papers. Before you introduce our children to the woman you destroyed our marriage for, I'm going to be with her eventually anyway. Eventually? David, you don't even know her. You've been sneaking around with her for 8 months. That's not a relationship. That's an affair. You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know that affair relationships don't last. I know that relationships built on lies don't work. I know that in 6 months, a year tops, you're going to realize you threw away 15 years of marriage. For nothing. Or maybe, he said, his voice cold now, maybe I'll realize I should have left years ago. That hurt, more than I wanted to admit. Fine, I said. You do whatever you want. But Simone is not spending time with my children. Not overnight. Not ever. You want to see them? She needs to leave. Or you can see them at my house. Those are your options. You can't dictate, watch me. My lawyer will file a motion tomorrow, restricting your girlfriend from being around the kids. And guess what? Given the circumstances of how you met her, given that she showed up at my mother's funeral, the judge is going to agree with me. I hung up, and I meant it. The next day, Ms. Green filed the motion. Petitioner requests that respondent's paramour, Simone, last name, be restricted from contact with minor children until divorce is finalized and appropriate introductions can be made. The judge granted it. Temporarily. David was pissed, but I didn't care. I was protecting my boys from a woman who had no business in their lives yet. The divorce was finally finalized in November, 8 months after my mama's funeral, 11 months after she died. I got primary custody. David got every other weekend, Wednesday dinners, alternating holidays. I got to keep the house, but I had to refinance it in my name only, which meant taking on the full mortgage, $1,500 a month. David got the newer car. I kept the older one. We split the savings. Wasn't much. About $8,000 after lawyer fees. He paid child support. $1,200 a month for both boys. It was done. 15 years of marriage. Over. On paper, at least. In my heart, I was still processing. Still healing. The first Christmas after the divorce was hard. The boys went to David's on Christmas Eve. Came back to me Christmas morning. I'd put up a tree. Bought presents I could barely afford. Made Christmas dinner. Tried to make it special, normal, but it wasn't normal. David wasn't there. Mama wasn't there. It was just me and the boys, in a house that felt too big, too quiet, too empty. After the boys went to bed, after I cleaned up the wrapping paper, after I put away the dishes, I sat on the couch, in the dark, just the Christmas tree lights on, and I cried, for what I'd lost. For what would never be again. But you know what? The next morning, I woke up, got out of bed, made breakfast. Because that's what you do. You survive. One day at a time. I started going to a divorce support group. At the church. Not my church. The one where Mama's funeral was. I couldn't go back there yet. But a different church across town. Every Thursday night. 7 to 8:30. A room full of people, all going through divorce, all at different stages. Some were fresh, raw, angry. Some were further along, healing, moving forward. I was somewhere in the middle, not fresh anymore, but not healed either. And hearing other people's stories, knowing I wasn't alone, that helped, more than I thought it would. There was one woman, Michelle, mid-40s, black. Funny as hell. She'd been divorced for 3 years. Was thriving now. Girl, let me tell you, she said one night. The first year is trash. You're gonna cry. You're gonna be angry. You're gonna question everything. But the second year, you start to find yourself again. Remember who you were before him. And the third year, That's when you fly. That's when you realize you didn't just survive, you thrived. I held on to those words because I was in the trash year, and I needed to believe it would get better. A year after the divorce, I went back to school, enrolled in community college. At 42 years old, working on my associate's degree in business administration because I was tired of barely making it, tired of living paycheck to paycheck, tired of depending on David's child support. I wanted more for me, for my boys. It was hard. Working full-time, raising 2 teenagers now, going to class 2 nights a week, doing homework at midnight. But I did it because I was building something that was mine, something nobody could take away. Malik started high school. Jordan started middle school. They were good kids, despite everything. They had their struggles. Malik got quieter, more withdrawn. Jordan acted out sometimes, got in trouble at school. We went to family counseling, the 3 of us, to talk about the divorce, about their feelings, about the changes, and slowly, we found our rhythm, our new normal, movie nights on Fridays, just the 3 of us, pizza and a Marvel movie, Sunday dinners at my sister's, all of us together, my sisters, their kids, me and my boys. Traditions, new traditions, building a life, different from before, but still good, still full of love. I started dating. Not seriously, just getting back out there. My girl from the support group, Michelle, set me up with her cousin, Andre. Nice guy, 45, divorced too, no kids. We went to dinner, had a good time, laughed. It was nice to feel seen again, to feel desired, to remember I was more than just a mom, more than David's ex-wife. I was Diane, a woman who deserved to be treated well. Andre and I dated for about 6 months. It didn't work out, different life goals. He wanted to travel. I had 2 kids and couldn't just pick up and go. But it was good while it lasted. And it taught me something. I could trust again. I could love again. When the right person came along, 2 years after the divorce, David married Simone. The boys told me. Dad's getting married, Malik said, casually. Over breakfast. I almost choked on my coffee. When? I managed to ask. Next month. He wants us to be in the wedding. Of course he did. How do you feel about that? I asked. Malik shrugged. I don't know. I guess it's okay. Simone's nice to us. She is? Jordan added. She makes really good pancakes. Pancakes. I wanted to be angry, wanted to tell them they couldn't go, couldn't be in that wedding. But I couldn't, because this wasn't about me. This was about them and their relationship with their father. If you want to be in the wedding, you can, I said, even though it killed me to say it. You're not mad? Malik asked. I chose my words carefully. I'm not happy about it, but your dad has a right to move on. And if being in the wedding is important to you, then I support you. Thanks, Mom, Malik said. After they left for school, I called Renee. He's marrying her, I said. I heard, Renee said. You okay? I don't know, I admitted. Part of me doesn't care. But another part is pissed that he gets a happy ending. After what he did. Yeah. Girl, let me tell you something. Renee's voice got serious. That's not a happy ending. That's a relationship built on lies. Built on betrayal. Built on him running away from his problems instead of facing them. That relationship is gonna implode. Maybe not today. Maybe not next year. But it will. Because what starts in darkness can't survive in the light. She was right. But it still hurt. The wedding came and went. The boys went, wore little suits, stood up for their dad, came home with pictures. I looked at them, briefly, David in a tux, Simone in a white dress, too tight, too low cut, my boys standing next to them, smiling. I put the pictures away, in a drawer, and I moved on with my day. Because that was their life now, and I had my own life to build. 3 years after the divorce, I graduated. Associate's degree in business administration, at 45 years old. I walked across that stage, in my cap and gown. My boys were there, screaming and cheering. My sisters were there, crying proud tears. Even some folks from my support group came. Michelle was there, with a huge sign that said, "You did it," and I felt proud. So proud. Because I'd done this, while working full-time, while raising 2 boys, while going through a divorce, while grieving my mama. I'd done it anyway. And that degree? That degree meant I could get a better job, make more money, build a better life for my boys. I got promoted at work to office manager, making $20,000 more a year. For the first time in 3 years, I could breathe. I could pay my bills, on time, without stress. I could put money in savings. I could take the boys on a vacation, nothing fancy, but a vacation, to Florida, to the beach, just the 3 of us, building sandcastles, swimming in the ocean, laughing. And I realized we were going to be okay. Really okay. Better than okay. We were going to thrive. 4 years after the divorce, I met someone. His name was Marcus. Marcus Thompson, 50 years old, widower. Lost his wife to breast cancer 5 years prior. Had 3 grown kids. He was a contractor, owned his own business, doing well for himself. We met at the hardware store of all places. I was buying supplies to fix a leaky faucet, trying to do it myself to save money. I was standing in the plumbing aisle, looking confused. "You need some help?" he asked. I looked up, saw this tall, dark-skinned brother, salt and pepper beard, kind eyes, warm smile. "I'm trying to fix my kitchen faucet," I said, "but I have no idea what I'm looking for." He laughed, not at me, just friendly. "Let me help you." And he did. Showed me exactly what I needed, explained how to install it, even wrote down the steps. "Thank you so much," I said. "No problem." He smiled again. "But if you get stuck, here's my card. I do this for a living. I can come take a look." I took the card. Marcus Thompson Contracting. "I appreciate it," I said. "Anytime." I thought that would be it. A nice encounter. Nothing more. But then I got home, tried to fix the faucet, and completely messed it up. Water spraying everywhere. I called him. "Marcus, this is Diane from the hardware store. I think I made it worse." He laughed. "I'll be right over." 30 minutes later, he was at my door, toolbox in hand. "Let's see what we got here," he said. He fixed it in 15 minutes. What would have taken me hours? "How much do I owe you?" I asked, reaching for my purse. "Nothing," he said. "Consider it a favor. I can't let you do this for free." "Then let me take you to dinner." He said it casual, but I saw the hope in his eyes. I hesitated. It had been 4 years since my divorce, 3 years since I'd dated anyone seriously, but something about Marcus felt safe. "Okay," I said. Dinner. We went out that Friday to a nice Italian restaurant downtown, and we talked, for 3 hours, about our lives, our kids, our losses. He told me about his wife, how he'd loved her for 25 years, how losing her nearly destroyed him, how he'd had to rebuild himself, for his kids, for himself. I told him about David, the affair, the funeral, the divorce, the struggle. "I'm sorry you went through that," he said, looking me right in the eyes. "No woman deserves that, especially not during such a hard time." "Thank you," I said. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Sure." "Are you over him?" I thought about it, really thought about it. "Yes," I said honestly. "I don't love him anymore. I don't hate him either. I just Don't feel anything. Good, Marcus said, because I'd like to see you again. If you're open to it. I am. And that's how it started. We took it slow. Really slow. Because we'd both been hurt. Both been through loss. We weren't rushing into anything. But every week we saw each other. Dinner, movies, walks in the park. Just getting to know each other. He was different from David. So different. He was present. When we talked, he listened, really listened. Not just waiting for his turn to talk. He was consistent. If he said he'd call, he called. If he said he'd be there, he was there. He was thoughtful. Remembered little things I mentioned. Brought me coffee the way I liked it. Fixed things around my house without me asking. And most importantly, he was honest. About his feelings. About his past. About what he wanted. 6 months in, I introduced him to the boys. I was nervous. What if they didn't like him? What if it was too soon? What if it brought up feelings about David? But they loved him. Marcus talked to them like people, not like kids. Asked Malik about his football team. Helped Jordan with his homework. Showed them how to change a tire. He's cool, Mom, Malik said later. I like him. Me too, Jordan agreed. Can he come to my game next week? My heart, a year into our relationship. Marcus asked me to move in with him. We were at dinner, his place. He'd cooked, steak, roasted vegetables, mashed potatoes. I've been thinking, he said, setting down his fork. About what? About US. About the future. My heart started beating faster. I love you, Diane. I love your boys. And I want us to be a family. I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet. But I'm asking you to move in. You and the boys. Come live here. Build a life with me. I looked around his house. His beautiful 4-bedroom house, with a huge backyard, and a workshop in the garage, and space for everyone. And I thought about my house. The house I'd fought to keep. The house that was too expensive. The house full of memories of David. Yes, I said. Yes? Yes. I'll move in with you. We moved in 3 months later. I sold my house, the one I'd fought so hard to keep. But you know what? I was ready to let it go. That house represented my old life, my marriage to David, all that pain. Marcus's house, that represented my new life, my future. And I was ready for it. The boys adjusted quickly, better than I thought. They each got their own room, bigger than their old ones. Marcus taught them things, how to fix a car, how to build a deck, how to be men. Things David should have taught them, but didn't, because David was too busy with Simone and their new baby. Yeah, Simone had a baby, a little girl. The boys told me. Dad has a daughter now. Her name is Lily. I felt nothing. No jealousy, no anger, nothing. That's nice, I said, and I meant it. You have a little sister. Half-sister, Malik corrected. Sister, I said firmly. She's your family. And we love our family. Even when things are complicated. 5 years after the divorce. David called me. Not about the boys, not about logistics, just to talk. Hey, Diane, he said, voice quiet. Hey, David, what's up? I wanted to talk to you. If you have a minute. Okay, I said slowly. About what? About US. About what happened. I sighed. David, we've been over this. I know. Just, please, hear me out. Fine, talk. I made a mistake, he said. With you. With our marriage. David, let me finish. Please. I was quiet. I threw away 15 years. With a good woman. A faithful woman. A woman who was there for me. And for what? For Simone. For someone I barely knew. For an affair that I thought was love. But it wasn't love, Diane. It was just escape. From responsibility. From life. From myself. And now I'm living with the consequences. What consequences? I asked, though I could guess. Simone and we're not doing well. We fight all the time. About money, about the baby, about everything. And I realize now. What I had with you, that was real. That was solid. That was built on years of friendship and partnership. This thing with Simone, it's built on lies and secrets. And it's crumbling. I'm sorry to hear that, I said. And I was. For his daughter, for the situation, but not for him. Diane, he said, voice getting emotional. Do you think, is there any chance? No, I said firmly. Before he could finish. You don't even know what I was going to ask. Yes, I do. You were going to ask if there's a chance for us. And the answer is no. But we have history. We have kids, David. That's what we have. But you and me? As a couple? We're done. We've been done. I've moved on. I'm with someone else. Someone who treats me the way I deserve to be treated. Someone who's present. Someone who's honest. Someone who would never do what you did. And even if I wasn't with Marcus, even if I was single, I still wouldn't take you back. Because you showed me who you are. At the worst moment of my life, when I was burying my mama, you brought your mistress to the church. And I will never forget that. Silence. I'm sorry, he said quietly. For all of it. I know you are. And I appreciate that. But sorry doesn't change anything. I hope you figure things out with Simone. For your daughter's sake. But I'm not your answer, David. I never will be again. Take care of yourself. And I hung up. For the last time. Marcus was in the kitchen, making dinner. Was that David? He asked. Yeah. Everything okay? Everything's perfect, I said, walking over to him, wrapping my arms around his waist. He wanted to know if we could get back together. Marcus turned around, concern on his face. And what did you say? I said no. I said I'm exactly where I want to be. He smiled, kissed me. Good answer. 6 years after the divorce, Marcus proposed. For real this time. We were on vacation, just the two of us. The boys were with David. Marcus's kids were grown and on their own. So we went to Savannah. Beautiful, historic Savannah. We were walking through Forsyth Park at sunset, and he got down on one knee, right there, in the middle of the park. Diane Mitchell, he said, you are the strongest woman I've ever known. You survived things that would have broken most people, and you came out better, stronger, more beautiful. I want to spend the rest of my life loving you, supporting you, building with you. Will you marry me? I was crying, happy tears this time. Yes, I said. Yes, yes, yes. He put the ring on my finger, stood up, kissed me, and people around us clapped, cheered. We got married 6 months later, small ceremony, at a little chapel. My boys walked me down the aisle, both of them, one on each side. My sisters were there, Marcus's kids, close friends, and when I said my vows, looking at this good man, this man who loved me, this man who chose me every day, I felt whole. For the first time in years, I felt whole. Not because I needed a man to complete me, but because I'd found myself first, built myself up first, and then found someone who added to that, instead of taking away. Today, I'm 50 years old, been married to Marcus for 3 years now, together for 7. My boys are grown. Malik is 22, in college, studying engineering. Jordan is 19, also in college, studying business. They're good men, despite the divorce, despite the drama, despite everything. They're close with Marcus. Call him on Father's Day. Come to him for advice. They still see David, not as much. But they have a relationship. David and Simone are still together. Surprisingly, it's rocky. Always has been. But they're trying. For their daughter. I don't wish them harm. I don't wish them happiness either. I just don't think about them much at all. I got my bachelor's degree at 48. Business management, online program. Took me 3 years. Now I'm the operations manager at Marcus's company. We work together, come home together, build together, making good money. Really good money. We bought a house, a nice house, with a pool, and a guest room for when the boys visit. We travel. Went to Jamaica last year, Mexico the year before, planning a trip to Africa next year, Ghana, to see the homeland. I'm living, really living, not just surviving, not just getting by, thriving. Last month I went to visit Mama's grave. I go every few months, bring flowers, talk to her. "Hey Mama," I said, sitting in the grass by her headstone. "I wish you could see me now. See how far I've come. Remember that funeral? The worst day of my life? When David brought that woman? When everything fell apart? I thought that was the end, Mama. I thought my life was over. But it wasn't. It was just the beginning. The beginning of me finding myself, finding my strength, finding my worth. I'm happy now, Mama. Really happy. Married to a good man. The boys are doing great. I got my degree. I got my career. I got my peace. And I know you're proud of me. I know you're watching. Thank you for teaching me to be strong. To never give up. To always keep going. I miss you every day. But I'm okay now. More than okay. I'm free. I sat there for a while longer, just being. And I felt her. I felt her. Proud. At peace. As I drove home. To my house. To my husband. To my life. I thought about that day. 7 years ago. The day I buried my mama. The day I discovered David's affair. The day everything changed. And I realized something. That day did change everything. But not in the way I thought. It didn't destroy me. It freed me. Freed me from a marriage that wasn't serving me. Freed me from a man who didn't value me. Freed me from settling. From accepting less than I deserved. That day was the worst day of my life. But it led to the best years of my life. And if I could go back and change it, prevent the affair, keep the marriage, I wouldn't. Because then I wouldn't be here. With Marcus. With this life. With this peace. So let me tell you something, sis. If you're going through it right now, if you just found out he cheated, if your world just fell apart, if you're at a funeral or a birthday or a wedding, and your heart is breaking, I need you to know, this is not the end. I know it feels like the end. I know the pain feels unbearable. I know you can't see past today. But there is a tomorrow, and a next week, and a next year. And in that future, you are strong, you are whole, you are happy. Not because you found another man, not because you got revenge, not because he came crawling back, but because you found yourself. You remembered who you were before him. You discovered who you could be without him. You built a life that was yours. So cry if you need to cry. Scream if you need to scream. Take time to grieve. Not just the relationship, but the dream. The future you thought you had. Because that grief is real, and it's valid. But then, get up. One foot in front of the other. One day at a time. One breath at a time. Go to therapy. Lean on your people. Build your support system. Get a lawyer. Protect yourself financially. Document everything. Take care of your kids. But also take care of you. Go back to school. Start that business. Get that degree. Learn that skill. Invest in yourself. Because you're worth it. You've always been worth it. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not this year, but one day, you're gonna wake up, and the first thing you think about won't be him. It'll be you, your day, your plans, your life, And you'll realize, I did it. I survived. No, not just survived. I thrived. And that man who broke your heart, that man who betrayed you, that man who brought his mess into your pain, he'll be irrelevant. A footnote in your story, not the whole story. Because your story, the real story, is about you, your strength, your resilience, your comeback. My name is Diane Thompson, used to be Diane Mitchell. I survived burying my mama and discovering my husband's affair. On the same day, at the same place. I survived the divorce, the financial struggle, the single motherhood, the pain. And I came out the other side, stronger, wiser, happier, with a man who loves me the right way, with boys I'm proud of, with a career I built, with a life I chose. And if I can do it, coming from where I came from, going through what I went through, so can you. You're not broken. You're breaking free. You're not destroyed. You're being rebuilt. Stronger. Better. More yourself than ever before. So hold on, sis. The sun is coming. The storm will pass. And when it does, you're going to look around at the life you built from the ashes, and you're going to be amazed at what you survived, at what you overcame, at who you became. Remember, they thought they broke you, but they just freed you. Now go build the life you deserve. And when he realizes what he lost, you'll be so far gone, living so good, loving so well, that he won't even recognize the queen you became. Your best days, they're not behind you. They're ahead of you. Believe that. Know that. Live that. God bless you, sis. You got this.